Right, welcome back everybody. Now, a top South African property entrepreneur has written a report and article that he suggests could create jobs. Rali Mampeule says currently black people are sitting on billions of rands worth of unregistered real estate in the former homelands and mostly rural areas. He says one of the creation of apartheid policies was citizens who lived outside of the formal land and property registration system. But even more alarming is that it does not occur to people that they can now challenge the status quo. Rali is in studio now, and we're going to question him all about this. It's good to have you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me, Leanne.
Okay, so let's talk about a personal background for you first, just to put you into perspective for some of our viewers. You are an entrepreneur. You're in property. You speak about the skewed distribution of land ownership of the past. Talk to me about the details.
Well, basically, Leanne, my background, I've been in real estate for the last 15 years. And during the course, having to be working with some of the biggest names in the country, like Charles Everett, I then got to understand how the real estate industry works in South Africa. And one of the things that we realized and did with the learnership that I have called the Rali Mampeule learnership, we did a study to just find out how many people own real estate in South Africa who are black, Indian, colours. But what came of interest was that there's about 19 million black South Africans who have homes and actually don't even have a title deed that they can use to be able to get further funding. As you can understand that property is where capital is born. And that really became as a shock. And based on that, we came with different alternatives to say, can we start to engage with government and other stakeholders to be able to find how we can be able to come up with a solution.
So in your report, you also talk about back in the 50s, in order to own your land, Xhosa people had to go back to the Transkei. Zulu-speaking people had to go to KwaZulu-Natal. In what form could they actually own that land?
Well, as you know, with our history in South Africa, that black people never used to own property or real estate in general. And based on that, that's when we realized that that status quo still stands. Over 20 years of democracy that we have, that status quo still stands. And this is about time that we should do something. Yes, government is obviously busy with a few initiatives and acts that they're making sure that that can happen. But just to give you an example now, in the olden days, some of our parents will come and work in Johannesburg and own land based back in Limpopo. And you find that it'll take one of the parents, maybe a father, 5 years to build a home that now currently could be valued at about R500,000 rand. But actually that person has no access to that real estate because the bank cannot recognize the asset that they have. And based on that, it just becomes a loss. And this is where it's so important that we try and make sure that those 19 million South Africans black South Africans who have access to real estate that is worth a couple of billions should be able to have access to that money.
Yeah, indeed. Let's look at the issue of the township legislation at the time. This allowed for the transference of land. What is the case in rural areas, though?
Well, basically, Leanne, currently in the rural areas, there's no infrastructure. So meaning that the homelands and the land there is still not declared as a township. And when I say township, I mean in a sense of there's no services, the land has not been rezoned. So what needs to happen, this is where we're saying that there's opportunities for job creation, because if you look at homelands in KZN, if government then starts to put processes where they do the rezoning processes, we are going to be able to hire town planners, engineers and land evaluators, property professionals to be able to create a market in those industries. As we speak now, currently those land are most of them are owned by the kings and queens of our country, and the individual actually have what they call just a permission to occupy. They don't have a title deed.
With a title deed comes a lot more responsibilities, though.
Yes.
You're going to be paying taxes, you're going to be paying a lot more to have that land. that you're living on.
Yes.
Do you think that those dwelling and living on the land would want that responsibility?
Definitely, and think
They
about
would want
it.
that.
They will want that because, first of all, they don't have access to certain resources or infrastructures in terms of electricity, even though our government has obviously done a lot of installing electricity and water. But once you start paying rates and taxes, you will automatically be able to have your flushing toilet. You'll be able to have water and electricity that you are paying for. Again, you'll have an access and opportunity where if you don't want to pay for those type of services, you can still be able to have a borehole at your home. But why not have the facility in the area that you're staying in? I mean, that's where everybody should be going.
Yeah. So, just finally, government's role in all of this. What should be happening right now?
Well, currently we should be rezoning those homelands and making sure that we're declaring them as township in a sense that we can be able to put infrastructure, have water and electricity, and be able to help our black South Africans who are holding on big assets to be able to use that to be able to do certain things and make sure that we can bring new blood into the old vein by creating a new property market in those areas that things are not happening. Currently, if you look at the market where the Pam Golding, the Chairs Everett and the CIF are playing in, every year there's about 11 billion rands worth of commissions that those companies are earning. And currently in those black market, there's no access to that. So we can create that type of a market.
All right, interesting views. Rali Mampeule, who is the CEO of Palima Holdings, he's done written a report and articles. Can we read them? Can we get access to them?
Yes, definitely.
Viewers would like to. Where do we see them?
That will also be available on our website, which is RM Learnership and .co.za.
Okay, rmlearnership.co.za.
Yeah.
All right, good. Rali, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you, Leah.
All right. We had a bit of a problem with Andile's mic a bit earlier, but I know you're waiting for that weather update.